Hey, it's Eric Cornish. Another edition of Eric Says Bring It Back. On my way in the old WKDQ truck today, but I wanted to talk about one of the things that I wanted to bring. Hey, it's Eric Cornish driving along the WKDQ truck today, and want to give another edition of Eric Says Bring It Back. So it's based off of last night. I was at the Grand Ole Opry last night and got to see a cool show, but there was one act in particular that really made me want to bring something back, and it was the act Riders in the Sky. Riders in the Sky, awesome throwback to the Old West kind of music, the Western style of music. But you know what? My first interaction with those guys was not on the radio, and it was not on the Grand Ole Opry. I saw them as a kid on Saturday morning TV and watched them, do their thing on their variety show that they had Saturday mornings. Now, Saturday morning cartoons were a big deal. A lot of people have talked about those and how those aren't around anymore, and I think that's been worn out and worn into the ground. Yes, I think they should be back too on the regular 3 or 4 networks that are out there. Now you've got so many cable networks that play cartoons all the time. You don't really need them, I guess, on the major networks, but that was a big part of my childhood. But what I'm saying bring back today are those other shows that weren't cartoons, that were live action shows that were on Saturday mornings. Those shows were the ones that I like to watch, and I don't know that they were my favorites, but they definitely were interesting. Riders in the Sky being one of them. There were some other ones that I can remember being live action shows. I think used to have stuff like Mr. Wizard. I think it was on Nickelodeon though. And for some reason, all of these shows included like guys that were older, that were looked way too old to be appealing to kids. If you look back on them today, they might seem a little strange and creepy, but I liked them. Another one, you want to talk about a creepy show, but I used to watch this every Saturday morning, and I think it came on like real early, like before the cartoons, like close to like 6 o'clock or maybe even 5:30, and it was called Peppermint Place with Mr. Peppermint, and then he had a bunch of stuffed puppets and stuff. I think it was almost a ripoff of kind of like Captain Kangaroo or maybe even Mr. Rogers, but Mr. Peppermint, he was an old guy and he wore a striped suit. As a matter of fact, you can see the opening to his show down below and see kind of what that show was all about. And that was another one. Like I said, Riders in the Sky. And my absolute favorite. You want to talk about a show that kids loved. It wasn't a cartoon, but basically a guy who was a cartoon in himself. And that is Paul Reubens, Pee Wee Herman, Pee Wee's Playhouse. My favorite Saturday morning show ever. See, it's the live action shows that really stood out. You had all kinds of cartoons, and they changed constantly, but man, some of those live action shows, although creepy by today's standards, were pretty darn good. So I'm going to give you a taste of some of those down below if you want to check that out. And it's another edition of Eric Says Bring It Back. And I'm going to continue on down the road right here with 99.5 WKDQ. Thanks.